This week, we tweak the format a little and have a really long conversation about whatever comes to mind, aka what I made Matt put on the outline. I'm Chad,
And I'm Matt.
and we really hope you enjoy episode 70 of our podcast. We used to talk about this at work. Oh man, Matt, I have not recorded an episode of our podcast for the entire month of August so far.
And how does that make you feel?
It feels like when you go to the gym or like have any like task that you regularly do and then you don't do it anymore, it just feels like something's missing in my day to day, like not thinking about like outline stuff, not reaching out, talking to guests, booking guests. I actually should have been doing that while I was off. But yeah, it just feels weird to have not been on mic for so long, but still have episodes come out.
Right. I've been holding the fort down and things of that nature. So it's okay. I'm glad you're back because I don't like doing this by myself.
Yeah, I could hear your uncomfortableness on the episode you recorded last week with Yasu and her friend.
Right. Because I'm used to somebody wrangling me in and saying this, but it's up to me to do it. And I'm just like, just keep talking.
Just carry on.
No, we got to transition from this. So no, I need somebody to wrangle this. I need this podcast to be more structured. If it was me, this is gonna be like a 4-hour podcast. We just gonna be shooting the shit all day.
Yeah. This is loosey goosey with an outline this week. But no, so normally we absolutely hate it when we don't have guests, but I felt like since we haven't really recorded together in so long, and we've been talking, but not really. You okay, Matt?
I thought this was water, but when I did it, did a little fizz like a soda. Okay. So now I'm like, I'm not sure what this is.
Icy spark.
I'm not sure what this is now.
For the YouTube listeners, we're doing video on there most of the time.
It's carbonated water. Why the fuck would she buy this?
Because you know how women, I'm sounding sexist now. The hot thing right now is, bubble water because it's not soda. She's trying to get you healthy, man. But normally we don't like doing episodes without guests, but felt like we have a lot of stuff to talk about since we haven't recorded together in so long. So that's what this is. Just me and Matt, reigniting the fires. Oddly enough, it's like a milestone episode 70. We're not gonna like stroke our dicks this week because we stopped doing that after episode 50. It's just randomly episode 7 is where we're not gonna have a guest.
Maybe we'll stroke our dicks on 100 then.
100%. I already have an idea of something I want to do for that, but we'll talk off mic. All right, so we're gonna go over a lot of stuff, and I will put time codes on everything if you want to skip around. So I want to talk about what I've been doing since I've been away. So we recorded 2 episodes at the end of July, the Bedazzled episode and the What We Do in the Shadows episode, and then you took a week off and you recorded what's that movie called?
The Fable
last week. So the reason we did 2 was because I went to Lindsey's wedding, and this is Lindsey who was on the show for that Cruella episode last year.
Yes.
Yeah. So
how was that?
The wedding was nice. It's a really cool venue. Like everything was in one place. Like it had like 3 sections. So like you go in there and it's like, okay, here's where you're gonna get married, like an open area. And then you keep going further into the building, and like there's like a bar area that's kind of like a prohibition saloon, not a saloon, but like a prohibition bar type situation. It was kind of cool.
What do you mean prohibition type bar?
So, like in the 20s when they in the US outlawed alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So that was prohibition. So like you had those like speakeasies where you had to put in the like say the secret code to get into the secret bar.
Oh, okay, okay, I got you.
So it had that kind of vibe. And then you keep going even further in the back, and then that's like where the reception is. But yeah, it was a nice wedding. Funny enough, like I walk into the area and there's an older guy like, pacing around, and apparently it was Lindsay's dad. He was a really nice guy. And he walked up to me, he's like, I'm gonna assume you work with Lindsay. And I was like, I wonder why you assume, sir.
Because I don't see your kind around here a lot.
Uh, but we had a nice conversation. He was a nice guy. And then I met her mom later on in the evening, and it was the exact same conversation about yeah. But no, they were nice. And then the other woman on that episode, Sarah, she was at the wedding, so I hung out with her and her husband. It was a nice time catching up with Sarah. We got to have them back. Sarah told me some stories about what's going on in her life, and I'm like, I think Matt would want to hear these stories.
uh, you what's the thing from Jago? You had my curiosity, and now
Now you had my attention. Now you have my curiosity.
my
No, no, yeah, you're
curiosity.
right. Yeah, it was curiosity and attention. Yeah,
Yeah, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
yeah. But no, that was all good. But then last week I ended up taking a road trip with seven timer Rachel of the show. And what?
Oh no, it looked like you wanted me to say something.
Oh no, I thought you were about to say something like the
Oh no.
way. Okay. So that was cool, but I go to her house to pick her up because I drove. And knock on the door, and she's like, "Oh, hey, let me just get my stuff and we can roll out." I'm like, "Okay, bet." And I'm like, why do you have like 3 bags for an overnight trip? And I'm like, she's got her luggage. She had like her purse, which is like really big. It's like a book bag, like one of those purses that women put on their backs. And then she
Mhm.
had an actual book bag. And then she's like, "Oh, that's my carry-on." And then she had the bag of snacks. The bag of snacks is fine. But then I'm like,
I carry on for the car.
right. And I'm like, and I was like, what is in that bag? And she's like, oh yeah, I brought my needlepoint, a couple books, crossword puzzle. I'm like, you're gonna be sitting right next to me. Like, why won't you talk to me? Like, what is happening right now?
And what is it like? 6 hour? How far drive is it?
It was like less than 5 hours, between 4 and 5 hours.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck, Rachel? So I didn't know Rachel was high maintenance. So interesting.
She was like, "What? You thought I was about to talk to you during this whole time?"
Fuck you think this is?
Right.
It was a nice drive. We had some good conversation, had some good conversation about music, which we don't really talk a lot about. We talk a lot about like movies and stuff, but not music really. So that was nice.
I figured that's. I mean, I think that's a surprise since you guys really enjoy musicals. So I figured I would have transitioned to talking about music.
Well, musicals are different than like, oh yeah, let me listen to this new Beyonce.
Well, I meant like, for example, if you go to like, I don't know, I've never been to a musical. Like, first, it's like if you go to like a
Wicked,
hip hop
Ranch.
hip hop or something like that where they're doing something, you'd be like, oh, I like that. Kind of reminds me of, and then y'all go that way or whatever.
I mean, I'll say okay. So yes, the reason why we took a road trip is because we saw The Devil Wears Prada the musical. But like the thing with musicals is that that expression like the snake eating its tail.
Hmm.
A lot of Broadway musicals just recycle like musical beats from other musicals, so it's like very
Oh,
incestuous.
mm, okay.
But no, so like if you recall, like a couple of weeks ago, we saw Legally Blonde the musical, and I said
Hmm.
that the lead was black, and I was like, I didn't look at all into the musical, so I was super surprised. And so I don't remember the characters' names, so I'm just gonna name them by what they're called by the actors that played them in the movie. But Anne
Hmm.
Hathaway was a black woman in the musical, and I was like, what is happening here? And then um what's John Krasinski's wife's name? The rival in Devil Wears Prada. Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt was an Asian
Oh
woman.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But no, man,
Okay.
it was really good. Like the music is so good. Like we was trying to find like the soundtrack, but it's not out yet. So basically, with Broadway musicals, you don't always just you got a new musical and then it just drops on Broadway in New York. That's not how that works. What they'll do is they will do preview shows in like Chicago or LA, sometimes St. Louis, because Karate Kid the musical apparently, London. They'll do preview shows somewhere else, and like they'll tweak it based on like the feedback they get from critics before it goes to Broadway. And a lot of the times
Okay.
they like change the cast and stuff. So I really hope
So
that cast goes to Broadway.
so like for movies like pre-screenings and things like that.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Or test screenings. There we go.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. So like when it hits Broadway, there could be like new songs or they could have removed some songs.
Okay.
But no, it was really good. Like as someone that's never seen the movie, I I was just like on the edge of my seat because I was like, all right, so
Wait, did we never had this conversation that you never seen the Devil with Prada?
we've had the conversation off mic.
Uh, I love that movie.
I know you like it. Like to loosely talk about this. So, at the end when they're at that was it's Meryl Streep?
Yeah.
When Meryl Streep is reading that speech and she knows that there's gonna be some shakeups at the company.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God. Like I thought that Meryl Streep was going to transition herself out of the company,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not necessarily what happened. And I audibly gasped when she did what she did. Now it was a really good show.
Okay. One of these days I'm gonna go see a musical.
You should. And whatever you give me advance notice that you are not going to be on the show, we will be doing a musical that week.
Thank you. Thank you for not doing it while I'm here.
I just need you to actually give me advance notice because usually you'll tell me like 2 hours beforehand, hey man, I can't do it. I'm like, okay. Okay,
All
man.
right, don't worry. I give you a good day to know. Good 24 hours.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. Also I read a book. It's called I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeannette McCurdy. Do you know who that person is?
I did not know until a couple weeks ago. And I realized during this, when I was looking this up, was that this era of Disney and stuff, I have no recollection of any of this stuff. The iCarlys, all that stuff. I don't know where I was at during this time, but I've seen none of this stuff. But so I'm vaguely familiar that she was an actress on one of those shows.
Yeah, she was on iCarly on Nickelodeon. Now, the only I've seen episodes of iCarly only because of Miranda Cosgrove, and she was Carly, and she was in School of Rock and other stuff. So like I was loose. You've seen School of Rock?
They singing in that. You know how to see that.
Okay. It's not like it's a musical, although they turned it into a musical, and the musical is good. But
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
But no, so I was aware of who she was, and so like I've seen episodes of the show. But Jeanette McCurdy, she plays Sam on the show, and I mean, we don't get the amount of listeners to where where we could be sued for like slander and whatnot. But I'm still gonna say allegedly. The creator of iCarly is the same person that made like the show Victorious, and then like do you remember Britney Spears? She has a sister, and
Jamie.
yes, do you remember what the name of that show was that she was on?
I did not know she had a show until a couple weeks ago when I first heard about this book. But yes, I've learned about this alleged predator.
Hey, yeah, I was building to that. Let's see, she was on a show called Zoe 101. But the creator, he was an executive producer on All That, Keenan and Kel, The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh.
Because I've seen him on those shows before,
Yes,
like on screen.
he inserts himself on those on
I
his
remember like
shows.
maybe he was on Keenan Kel inside the grocery store doing something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen him as an actor before.
Yes. Yes, you have. So I'm gonna say this is a rumor. Allegedly, or rumor has it, to reference that Umbrella Academy, or I heard a rumor
Yeah.
that the creator of Zoe 101, the show that Britney Spears' sister is on, that he is actually the father of her child. If you recall, it was a whole scandal. She was like 14 or 15 when she got pregnant, Jamie Lynn Spears.
This is news to me, but keep going.
She's a teen mom. Allegedly, the rumor is that he is the father because he is a sexual predator.
Mm, mm.
So there's like a lot of like compilations on YouTube of like as the kids would have said a year and a half ago, of out of pocket scenes from his various shows, where it's just like, oh yeah, here's some foot fetish stuff, or here's some teen girls in some bikinis for no reason, like things of that nature.
Mm, mm. Well, can
So
you give me what's a time frame when these shows were on TV?
the 2000s, like so Keenan and like yeah, his whole things was like early 2000s to like the mid 2000 teens.
Okay, so I think that's probably why I
Yeah.
don't know these shows because I
Yeah, you
went
were
to
older.
in the Navy. Yeah, because 2004 is when I joined the Navy. So
Yeah.
anything after
You
that,
were in high
yeah, I
school
don't know.
when
Yeah, and I was yeah, okay.
yeah. So, circling back, so she wrote a memoir about her life up to this point. And the way that is being promoted is that it's about to be a tell-all about the stuff that happened to her at Nickelodeon. Like one juicy blurb that came out before the book came out was that when she was finally done with her Nickelodeon stuff, Nickelodeon offered her a $300,000 bonus as long as she signed a non-disclosure document, so that
NDA, okay.
so that she would not talk about her time at Nickelodeon. And she said she refused to. So people was like, "Oh shit, what was they silencing you about?" And so reading the book, it's a light read. She most like the book is like 97% about her mother, about how like abusive she was. Like it sounded like her mother was bipolar and how manipulative her mother was, and
Hmm.
like how like she pushed her into like acting when she really didn't want to. She pushed her into having an eating disorder, and, very bad things. But it didn't really it mentioned the creator of the show like maybe 4 times, but she just mentioned some stuff where it's like, he made me feel slightly uncomfortable. Like we're at dinner and like he said some like off kilter things, or like we're on set and like he's like yelling at me, or he's yelling at all of us, but
Hmm.
nothing beyond that. And it just felt like she was holding back about her time at Nickelodeon. To me, and I just want to be very clear. I am not minimizing the things that happened to this woman. I'm just saying that she didn't really go into a topic that I thought, from the way that the she's promoting the book, that she would go into, which is her time at Nickelodeon.
Do you think so just because she doesn't want to talk about it, or uh there might be a book number two?
Either that's gonna be a book number two, or she actually did take the money.
Oh. Oh, so it wasn't confirmed, yes or no, she actually did.
So in the book, she said that they offered her that money, and she was like, "Fuck that." And then like it was a really short chapter in the book, and then she was like, "But thinking about after I got off the phone call, that's more money, like than than I made." So she was on iCarly for like 5 years, I think 5-6 years, and then she did one season of a spinoff with Ariana Grande. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was like, that $300,000 is more than I've made on this one season of this show.
Mm.
And then the chapter ends.
Oh,
So
it was a cliffhanger. So it's like, did she do it or not?
right.
Right.
She may have. But she did not hold back in her disdain for Ariana Grande though.
Oh, really? Give me the spill the tea, as the kids say.
So she did that. So basically, at the end of season 1 of iCarly, the creator of the show had dinner with her, or lunch with her and her mom, and he said, your character is testing really well. I want to give you a spinoff, but I'm not gonna give you a spinoff right now because like iCarly's the hot shit right now, and we don't want to remove you from that show. So when
Mhm.
iCarly is done, I will give you a spinoff. 5 years later, he gave her a spinoff, but she had to share it with a character from another show.
Mm.
And so when they were filming the show is when Ariana Grande was starting to like blow up with her music.
Mhm.
And so there are days where like shooting would just be like they just be waiting around for Ariana to get there. Or like she would just not show up to work. And they weren't recommending her. But like there's like she was talking about how like she had to give up like movies because they wouldn't let her not be on iCarly.
Mm.
So there's some real bad blood between. Well, I can't speak for how Ariana Grande feels, but Jeanette McCurdy does not care for Ariana Grande.
That makes sense. I can see that. Or I can see why.
Yeah. But yeah, pushing along, we got one news item. So have you been hearing about this HBO um and Discovery merger?
Yes,
What have you heard?
that they merged, and normally when things merge, new people in charge, things change, stuff like that. So I'm into wrestling, and AEW's on TNT and
Sure.
TBS. So, and from the stuff that I read was they are trying to get rid of, I guess what they said, scripted um shows and stuff like that. But and it was talked about maybe AEW might leave or they might get rid of them. But I guess they consider AEW to be sports, wrestling to be sports.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're on the good end of the stick. But yeah, that's what I know.
Yeah. So they're trying to run well, I guess I shouldn't say HBO, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns HBO. But the people from Discovery are trying to run Warner's closer to how they run Discovery, where they have like a lot of cheap content like, Property Brothers and the one where you go to like the three houses and decide which one you want to buy.
Oh yeah, that would where it'd be like a guy, he's a painter, and the
Yeah.
wife is a Etsy. Their house is $5 million.
Right. Where those shows like cost like next to nothing to produce.
Hmm.
And so like a few weeks ago the internet was like losing its mind because, the previous regime they greenlit a Batgirl movie and they spent $90 million on it and it's just supposed to be for HBO Max and the new people they were like, "Okay, cool. That movie's almost done." Like they're done recording it, like filming it. They just need to do like the effects and stuff. They're like, "Bet. We will never release that. That's going to be a tax write-off." They had like a sequel to Scoop that came out like a few years ago. Do you remember that?
Hmm.
Yeah, they're like almost done with the animation. That shit's not coming out. Tax write off.
So with the Batgirl thing, I understand tax write off, but what is the benefit for them? Like, why wouldn't you just release it since it's already done or majority done?
So what they're claiming is that they made it for streaming. So it looks like a streaming movie. It looks cheap.
Hmm.
And really I don't I feel like we talked about this when maybe when Jared and Kevin were on, but it's like what money are you making from streaming, right? Like
Uh-huh.
the people, they pay their $10 a month or whatever, and you're producing all this content exclusively for the streaming service. Like it won't go into a theater, it won't get theater money. Like you aren't gonna put it like you aren't gonna you know how like back in the day before everybody had their own streaming services, Netflix gave studios X amount of money to put content on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
But if you own this content and you made it for your streaming service, you're not nobody's giving you money to put it on the streaming service on your own streaming service.
Right, right. Okay.
So
Okay.
they're like, what are we gonna do with this? And it's not like we can just release it. You still have to promote it. And so like you're just gonna spend several million more dollars promoting it also.
Right, right.
And so they're like, we're just gonna cut our losses. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with this. I'm just stating what happened.
Yeah. And I'm in the same boat. I'm not really a DC person. I can care less, but it's just one of those things. So I'm just like, if, for example, if Marvel was like, yeah, we made this Black Panther 2 and nah, we ain't gonna release it.
I
I'm like, nah,
mean,
fuck that.
well, that's using that example specifically, though. I mean, if they said that before they released that trailer, we would understand with the
Well,
things
yeah,
that
because
have
it
happened.
happened, right? It was certain situations. Yeah, I can see why, but I wouldn't like it though.
Okay, okay. But so also this is spilling over into the HBO Max app where like certain shows they're just like with no announcement, like shows and movies that HBO owns, they just well Warner Brothers owns, they just removed it from the app. Didn't say anything to anybody. Just one day you click on it and it's just not there. So just to name a few things, there's an animated show called Close Enough from the people that brought you, I think it was Regular Show. Infinity Train's another one that's a pretty popular animated show. Charm City Kings. That's a movie produced by Will Smith and Jada Pickett Smith. About it's set in Baltimore and like biker guys. Just like a lot of movies and shows that like seem pretty decent, but they just removed them without saying anything.
So are they not going to
Well,
release those? Or just
I mean, they're already released. My personal guess is that they're gonna probably try and see if they can like loan them to other streaming services. That's my guess to make
okay?
money. That's my guess, but I don't know.
All right, that could work. So then they'll get at least,
A little
yeah,
something,
some
yeah.
right.
But like my question is, well, my statement is just like I don't know, like I'm sure you've seen those memes where like it's like 2005 you're pirating content, and then like in 2010 you got Netflix, so you put your pirate hat on, and now like in 2020 there's like 80,000 streaming services, so you pick your pirate hat back on.
Right.
And so like I have HBO Max, and it's just like I like the idea of having all this content. I may not watch it, but I could watch it. It's at my fingertips. But now I feel like I should pirate this content because it's like, where is it? If y'all just gonna
Right.
remove it.
Correct.
Oh yeah. But yeah, you been playing any games?
Yes, I was playing Fortnite. Sometimes I jump on Fortnite because my son wants to play with me and things. So uh like every season or so, not every season, but every so often, every couple months, they release new skins with new characters and stuff like that. Like Ariana Grande was a skin, Marvel was
What?
a skin.
Ariana
Yeah.
Grande running around with a gun.
Yep. Like different anything from like real people characters, Doctor Strange. Last month was Indiana Jones, Darth Vader. But this season they had Dragon Ball Z characters, Goku and things like that, right?
Okay.
So you ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
I've seen episodes of that as well as Dragon Ball.
So I've never seen none of that stuff.
That's very
But I'm
surprising to me.
why is that?
You were into anime.
3 years ago. Before that, I wasn't on
Oh,
anime.
right. I forgot. I'm
Right. I didn't
sorry.
start being animated till I got to Japan. I was on some nerd shit, and I'm above that. I'm part of the cool kids, and I didn't watch that. I was at the sports and basketball. But yeah, so yeah, they have Goku on there. You know, everybody's talking about that and stuff. So I was like, let me check out this Dragon Ball stuff. So I started watching Dragon Ball to catch up on it, and so I can learn, you know, the story arcs and things like that. But
Okay.
only video game I've been playing lately is just Fortnite.
And so you just winning the battle royale or whatever the fuck you do in that game.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, you know, well, it's called Battle Royale, but yeah, it's just you go in there, you have 100 or 99 other people, and you let the killing begin. But of
Chaos
course, you know,
ensues.
you got to have those V bucks, and every day my son is asking for more V bucks because you need that to buy the new skins and stuff. But you know, I get it. They know what they doing over there. You can't be wearing these. You can't be wearing uh
The default costume.
well, I'm trying to think of something real life. Remember back in the day? Oh no, you might have been you're younger than me. So remember back in the day in the mid '90s to late '90s, you used to have your name on your belt buckle.
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay, so or remember like Jabot jeans.
Yes.
So it's kind of like that. It's like when the new stuff come out, you got to upgrade. You can't be wearing the same old stuff of back in the day and stuff. So I get it. I get it.
Okay.
What games
Uh
have you been playing?
so I played Kirby in the Forgotten Land. It's a library game, and that's the new Kirby. I thought I was getting the new Kirby a couple of months ago, but I finally got it. So I didn't care for it. I played it a couple levels, and it just felt like a game for much younger children. Like it felt too easy, like too
Mm-hmm.
handholdy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I really
Can
wouldn't. Hmm?
no, I'm saying they ain't got nothing where you can change the difficulty. Oh
Nah,
wait,
this
no,
Nintendo,
that's
they don't do that.
no, right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then also I played the Mario Kart DLC. There's a second the second DLC pack came out, and
Mm-hmm.
it that has New York Minute from Mario Tour, Mario Circuit 3 from Super Nintendo Mario Kart, Calamari Desert from Nintendo 64. That's the one with the train in the desert.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Waluigi Pinball, which that's from the DS. I've never seen that level before. It is so cool. Like you're inside a pinball machine.
Oh really? Oh wow.
It is really cool. Sydney Sprint, that's from Mario Kart Tour, Snowland from Game Boy Advance, Mushroom Gorge from the Wii, and Sky High Sunday, which is an original level. And
Oh
they're
wow.
pretty,
So you get a lot.
yeah, they're pretty good. It's a
How
pretty
much
good
is it?
way. It's so it is it's gonna be like 60 something maps, and it's like 20, like you have to buy like the whole pack. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
$25.
Okay,
But
that's
like
not
they
bad.
release like 8 maps at a time, and they said they're gonna have all, I think it's 64 new maps by the end of next year.
Okay.
But yeah, so I watched we both watched a lot of TV these last couple weeks. I watched Paper Girls on Prime. It's based off a comic book, and on the show, it's four girls that are paper girls, like they deliver newspapers in like the 1980s. And I wouldn't say hijinks ensue because like the inciting incident is crazy, not ridiculous crazy, like what the fuck is happening? And then like there's another inciting incident where you're like, oh, that shit's bad. But they ended up in the future, like in like 2020 or 2017, some shit like that. And so like the show is partially trying to get back to the correct time, but also they run into like certain ones of the four girls run into their future selves. And so
Mm-hmm.
like they have to reconcile, like when you're a kid, you think your life is going to be this,
Right.
but it rarely turns out to be that. And so they kind of have to reconcile like where things went wrong.
Okay.
It's really good. I really hope it gets picked up for a second season. It has a decent cliffhanger.
Okay. And that's on
Uh,
Prime, right?
yes. And then I watched What We Do in the Shadows seasons 1 and 2. as well as like the first 2 episodes of season 3. Um, the show is really funny, like I said last time I was on. And also like the guests that just randomly appear in the episodes, like that's what makes the show. Like Haley Joel Osment was in an episode, like playing a fucking asshole.
Are they playing as themselves or as a character?
So some people will loosely play themselves, like when I mentioned Wesley Snipes. He's
Uh-huh.
sort of playing Wesley Snipes, but also sort of playing Blade. So it's kind
Okay.
of a hybrid. But I wasn't feeling season 3 too much because like they filmed that during the pandemic and the first 2
Mm.
seasons came out before it. So like you could tell like they had to switch some things up. Like there aren't as many like additional characters, at least on those first two episodes, because
Oh,
COVID regulations.
right, right.
And so like the flow of the show felt a little off. So yeah. Maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I won't. I don't know. I watched I Am Groot on Disney Plus. There's 5 short films. They're like maybe 5 minutes each. And just Groot
Oh,
having little
it's
adventures.
it's less than 5 minutes each.
They are. I didn't know you
Yeah, yeah.
watched it.
Like, oh yeah, like I watched it. Like me and my wife watched it. Now, my wife is not into like that, but my wife loved, loved every single episode. Like she laughed at it. Like this was right up her alley. If they made a whole baby Groot movie, my wife would be there opening day. She loved everything about these 5 episodes.
Okay. And what'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it too. Yes, they're real short, sweet, little comedy things. I really enjoyed. I forget what episode. The episode where he meets the little people, the little blue people.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and he like
yeah,
he thinks he murders the whole tribe.
right. I really like that episode.
I like the one where he meets his water self and he like
Oh,
sends
and
him out the airlock.
yeah, they dance and then yeah.
Uh,
If you got Disney Plus, you want to check it out, definitely you can watch all 5 in less than 10 minutes.
yeah, it's a good little show. It's fun. I'm gonna see
Right.
if my daughter will watch it. She probably won't, but I'm gonna see if she'll
Right.
sit down and watch it. I finally finished the After Party on Apple TV Plus. I made this a link on the outline because like it's a good it's like one of those like detective who done not it's a comedy, but like so it's like a 15-year class reunion. And there's an after party at somebody's house that's now famous, and he gets murdered. And so the show, each episode of I'm gonna tell you who was in the cast in a second. So, or or do you think someone's in
Okay.
your house?
No, keep going. I just didn't see that on Apple TV.
Okay.
But keep going.
So each episode is from someone else's perspective talking to the police about what happened that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the biggest star of the show is Tiffany Haddish. But you've got Sam Richardson, who we've seen him in a few things. Ike Barinholtz, Ben Schultz, he's the voice of Sonic, and also he was
Oh
the
yeah.
voice of either Chip or Dale in Rescue Rangers. Alana Glazer, our boy Dave Franco. But yeah, it's a funny show, and like the when you find out who actually did it, it's kind of crazy. It's wild. And it's not one of those situations where it's like we did all this and like the death was an accident. No, somebody goes to jail at the end.
Okay.
Good show. Um I binged the last 3 days I binged Severance also on Apple TV Plus. And all I'm gonna say is if you haven't seen this show, watch this show. It's it is amazing. Severus is essentially this is a world in which they'll put a chip in your brain. And when you go to work, the chip turns on and you have no recollection of your life outside of work. And you work and you do your thing. And when you leave work, the chip, switches off and you have no idea what happened at work and you just live your life. And it's a very interesting and twisty show, and it's just like you follow a character who's like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. And she does all these things to make her outside self quit the job, but her outside self refuses and she doesn't understand why. Is really good. I know that you're a couple episodes into it, Matt.
Yes,
Keep pushing. Is this something you're watching with your wife or by yourself?
by myself.
Keep pushing, Matt.
So, would you do it?
No. So one a character is watching the news and they talk about how a woman that did the Severance operation is suing her employer because her work self had got pregnant at work and she has no idea who the father is.
Oh,
And it's just like there's too many things like going on, like they aren't telling you what you're doing at work, right? And so like
right,
my thing is like, what if you have like a actual complaint about work? You can't report that to anybody, or you can report it, but like it's just going to be internal. Like there's no external mechanisms. Like how do promotions work? Like bonus incentives, like you're going off the honor system of your employer to do right by you for what you did during work, but they don't have to tell you what you've been doing at work.
right,
So that's why I wouldn't do it. Just because I don't want to be taken advantage of.
right. Because I always thought, no, I wouldn't do it. But then, like, sometimes like work be busy or you have a project, and then like at night I be trying to sleep, and I'm like, I'm thinking about work stuff, and I'm like, why the fuck am I thinking about work at home? And then I was like, I wish I didn't have to think about work at home. But on
Right.
the flip side of that, there is sometimes where I'd be like, I come up with a good idea for work at home. So, but no, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because what they got me doing some illegal stuff in there, and I'm just like, do 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 do. As soon as I get out, I'll be like, oh, I'm doing some good things out here.
I'm doing the Lord's work.
Right.
um, and then we both watched She-Hulk, right?
Yes.
Um, I am going to share my thoughts first. I didn't care for this first episode. Now, the reason why I said I didn't care for it is because it's more of like a setup. Like we are like this is to introduce anybody that's not familiar with She-Hulk. Here's like her origins and all this, and like let's prep you for the show. When I just want to watch a fun, wacky lawyer show, and there wasn't really any of that. I feel like we're gonna get it going forward, but like the majority of the episode, she was not in a law court setting. It was just like a
Mhm.
training episode.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't care for it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't. My only criticism, I know it's only one episode, kind of felt like they moved too fast on the her becoming She-Hulk. I guess I'm used to that being a long process in these types of movies and TV shows of them doing stuff. It was kind of like, all right, this is this person, this is what happens to them, blah blah blah. She's this, and now she's dead, and now we're about to go on from here. So now, as I say that, I felt like they kind of pushed everything in here. This might be a good thing because, like you said, maybe for the rest of these episodes, we're about to hit the ground running. Now we got that out the way. We
Yeah.
don't have to. Which one of the problems of like I didn't care for was Miss Marvel was the long drawn out thing. So maybe this is going to be a blessing in disguise, and now we can hit the ground running going forward because we got all that training, how that
Exposition.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got all that out the way. So I'm just gonna take this as a wait and see. I thought it was okay, and we just see how it's going forward. So I've been watching Loot. Have you heard of Loot?
Yeah. Another show with Adam Scott.
Yes, and they got
Maya
Maya
Rudolph.
Rudolph on there, and my boy. I think every episode I'm just gonna say his name to get more stuff.
Oh, yes.
Ron Funches.
Yes. Oh,
I,
also we need to start Harley Quinn season 3.
oh yes, we do. Yes. So every episode I'm gonna say Ron Funches because I need him in more things. I need him in my life. But yeah, it's basically Maya Rudolph plays a character where um she's married to a multi-billionaire. He cheats on her.
Adam Scott.
Yeah, Adam Scott, and then now he was a tech billionaire, so they didn't have a prenup. So she got half his billion. So she's like the third richest woman in the world.
Oh,
And
this is Jeff Bezos.
yes, I guess yeah, kind of because then she like first weekend she's traveling the world, partying, doing whatever as a billionaire. But then like things happen, and then she's like, hey, she used to call from her charity, and she was like, hey, we would like to come down, and she's like, I have a charity. So then she goes down to her charity, and then she does things to help promote it and stuff. And one of the funny scenes is, and this is where they tricked me on this one. Okay, so like last week I saw a clip on the internet of Maya Rudolph on Hot Ones, right?
Oh, okay.
So she's like, it's real hot and she's cursing and everything. I'm like, Maya Rudolph, wow. But then I watched this. This is on the show. So that wasn't real. That was on the show.
Oh, fuck you.
So yeah, so then like her character on the show goes to Hot Ones and all that stuff. I thought was the real Maya Rudolph it was part of the show. But no, I really like it. It's great.
You finish it?
Oh yeah, I finished it.
Okay.
And also Ron Funches, be in more stuff. I love your voice.
He has a podcast, right?
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch it. And I need visual too to go with that voice. Switching a little bit to Midnight Diners. Now I'm not sure. Just like I'm not exactly sure for last week's episode, The Fable, if that's going to be on. I don't know if that's on American Netflix or anything.
Okay.
But for all you people who can't,
I'll check now. Where you're talking?
Yeah, if not, use your VPN. But also they have on Japanese Netflix called Midnight Diners. And it's basically about a diner in Tokyo that opens up from midnight to 7 a.m. And it's just simple stories. I think it's 2 seasons, about maybe like 9 or 10 episodes each. But it's just random light story. Not I shouldn't say light. Random stories of different customers coming in and things happen.
So it's like a reality show?
No, it's not a reality show. It's a scripted show. But it's just like one episode was 2 girls come in, they want to be voice actors for anime and things. So then they meet somebody else, they eat the food, and they go about their lives, and it's always some kind of connection to the diner and the food that they ate for each episode.
So it's like an anthology type situation where it's like centered around this diner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So things they meet in the diner for food, and then it circles around the diner, all the different stories that happens.
Both shows are on American Netflix, and apparently there's another show called Midnight Diner Tokyo Stories, which is newer. I'm guessing this is a spinoff.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet.
It's got 2 seasons. Midnight Diners has 3 seasons, and it has 2 The Fable movies on here, so there must be a sequel.
Yes, I've seen both of those.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the other thing I watched on Netflix, have you heard of Keep Breathing?
No.
All right. Keep Breathing is basically this woman and this guy, and 2 guys, they get on a plane, it crashes in the middle of the Canadian wilderness, and then the woman has to survive to stay alive. And Melissa Barrera, she in my mind, she acted her ass off in this. I really enjoyed her in this. Now, with that being said, her character Liv, hated the character Liv. I kind of wanted her to die in the wilderness. Oh, spoiler.
Why did she annoy you?
I don't want to get into detail just for people who watch it, but her character I did not care for at all. But the actress, and it's a short. I think it's like 8 episodes, maybe 9. It's not that long, but it's real good.
There's 6 episodes.
Oh, even better. Yeah, it's short and sweet to the punch. So, and the last thing is, like I told you guys earlier, I started playing Fortnite, and they got the new Dragon Ball Z Goku characters. So I was like, I've never seen Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. So I was like, let me go back and watch it. So then, just like I did with Star Wars, I looked up what is the correct order to watch Dragon Ball in. So then they were like, oh, you got to start with Dragon Ball, which I did not know there was a Dragon Ball. I thought it started with Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
but apparently starts at Dragon Ball. So I'm on my Dragon Ball journey. Now you said you've seen some of the Dragon Ball.
I've seen a few episodes of Dragon Ball and a few episodes of Dragon Ball Z, but not enough to where I can have an actual conversation with you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm it's 100 and either 37 or 187 episodes of Dragon Ball. And I'm only on episode 20, but you know, the Star Wars thing, they show you should watch it this one and this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So the one I found said watch the first 13 episodes of Dragon Ball, then watch the first movie. So I was like, okay,
Mm,
I watched the first 13 episodes, then I watched the movie, the first movie that came out.
right.
This fucking movie was the same thing as
The first
they
13
took.
episodes.
Yeah, they took the first 13 episodes and like basically shrunk it into a hour-long movie. What they added, they sprinkled a little bit of different stuff in there. Like the
So
main
just
villain was
so just
different.
just watch the first movie.
Right, just watch the first movie. It was well, no, you get more information through the first 13 episodes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I shouldn't have watched the fucking movie. So I'm not going off that list no more. I'm just gonna watch all of Dragon Ball
You
so
need to
then I can go
get on
into
Reddit. Listen to what Reddit tells you to do.
right. Now, I know of this character, but apparently Vegeta's black now. Or
What?
not Vegeta. There's a
Piccolo?
character on Drag, some character now. Some character is black now, where everybody's like photoshopping like Tim's and a New York cap on his head or something. So I don't know who this character is now, but once I get there, I'm gonna be like, oh, that was a reference. So
Yes,
I'm,
very
I'm
dead
intrigued for
ass.
that.
Yes, very
Yes,
dead ass. Yes.
no cap.
We're old. So transition into movies. Have you heard of The Secret of Nimh?
I have not.
So it's a Don Bluth movie from the 80s. Don Bluth, he brought us Anastasia in the 90s, The Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Titan AE.
Ooh, oh, he got some
Uh
classics underneath this belt.
yeah, we can I have opinions about him as a person just because of my feelings about Disney. But basically after just to quickly get into it, after Walt Disney died, like that is so animated movies for Disney, they are like chopped up in eras, like the golden era, the silver era, the dark era, the Renaissance. The Disney Renaissance would be from The Little Mermaid until like Treasure Planet. That's the Renaissance when
What's
like
the what's the silver era? I know I've heard of the golden era. What's the silver era?
maybe Bambi or some shit like that. No, that would have been the hold up, let me
Golden
see.
era.
Disney eras. Let's see, 7 eras of Disney. So the golden era was from 37 to 42. Snow White. Why is there music? Who puts can you hear this? Can you hear
Mm-mm.
any music? Who puts
No.
music on fucking websites? It's 2022. Let me it's just coming through my fucking microphone. God damn it. Hold up. It's coming through my headphones. I gotta go to another site. Okay. Okay, so golden era, Snow White to Bambi. So Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi. Then you got the wartime era, which they didn't really come out with whole movies, but like the three Caballeros, I didn't see it until like the pandemic with Samantha. Like we were just like, oh yeah, let's watch a Disney movie. It is
Mm-hmm.
not what you think it is, and it is really fucking good.
Oh, okay.
But also that includes Ichabod and Mr. Toad. You know when they did the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
All right,
Ichabod
this
Crane.
yeah. All right, the silver era is 1950 to 1967. It includes these are all fucking bangers too. Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, The Sword and the Stone, and The Jungle Book.
Mm.
And so then you've got the Bronze Era. This shit slapping too, man. Hold up. Oh, I see. So the Bronze Era is also the Dark Ages. Because you got so this is when Walt Disney was dead.
Oh, that's why I call it Dark Ages.
Yeah, because it's like not necessarily saying these movies were bad, but the company itself was in a very bad place because it's like one of those
Okay.
situations where you have like the founder of the company and like his vision is like he's one of the, he was hands on, right? And so it's like he's not there anymore and people are trying to run the company like they think he would run it. And
Okay.
when you think somebody's going to run a company a certain way, you just do what the last thing they were doing. But,
Mm-hmm.
Walt Disney was a fucking innovator. Like, he's like, all right, we're following trends. We can't do that shit no more. So we on to the next shit. But these other
Right.
motherfuckers, like, let's just keep doing this old shit.
Mm.
And so there was like a point where they were like thinking about discontinuing the animated portion of Disney. And also this is a time when Disney was making like really shitty live action movies too. Like
Mm-hmm.
really shitty. And so Don Bluth at the time was the head animator of Disney. And there was a lot of like bumping heads and like them not letting him do certain things. And so he took like almost all of the animators and started his own company. And so, like, on one hand, like, I get it, but on the other hand, I'm like, that's a bitch move, sir.
Right.
And so the first movie that they came out with was The Secret of Nimh. And so I saw it for the first time during my time off the podcast, and I thought it was okay. Like it felt like if it's one of those situations where if I saw this as a kid, I would have such feelings about it. But as an
Mm-hmm.
adult, it felt a little bit uneven. Like it's based off a book. So like you
Okay.
picked up some story threads from the book, but you touched on them, but you didn't really go into them as much as me, someone that is actually paying attention to the story, should have, that you should have gone into it. But the
Right.
animation is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I saw it. Like they came out in 92. Yeah.
No, the 80s. 82? Secret of Nim.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it. Yeah, sorry, 82. Yeah, 82.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna say I recommend it. Well, yeah, I recommend it. It's interesting. It's interesting.
I won't say no. I take that back. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do recommend it.
Just watch that shit. Just watch it. The next thing is Joe versus the Volcano. I don't believe I've heard of this movie, but I was listening to another podcast and they brought it up. It stars Tom Hanks and America's sweetheart at the time, Meg Ryan. Um, Meg Ryan plays three different characters in this movie, and the second character she plays. Have you heard of this movie?
No, but I'm saying we use like she plays three different characters. First thing about I thought of Nutty Professor. I was like, Megs in different costumes like this.
So like she's got like different hair colors. But like the
Oh,
second
okay.
character she plays, like everything that fucking woman said was it had me cracking the fuck up. It's like Meg Ryan from like romantic comedies, but not comedies, and like she's
Mhm.
really fucking funny. Like she was like that second character she plays my favorite fucking character of the movie. But the movie's basically similar to a Severance situation. Like not that serious similar, but like Tom Hanks works for like a really shitty company and he gets a diagnosis of like a terminal diagnosis. And so he quits
Mhm.
in like the most ridiculous way. And this rich guy comes to him and he's like, "Hey, so I heard you only have a couple months to live. How about we make a deal? I'm going to give you some money and you live it up like a rich person for a couple weeks. But at the end of those couple of weeks, you have to go to this remote island and sacrifice yourself to this volcano to make the indigenous people happy." And so he agrees to do that. And it's it's like it came out like 1990 or something like that. It's a really weird movie, but I'd recommend it specifically for Meg Ryan. Like, yeah, I don't. I'm sure there are, but I can't off the top of my head cannot think of a bad Tom Hanks movie that I've seen. And Tom Hanks is gonna come in there and do his fucking job. He's fun, and like this is early '90s Tom Hanks, where he's slender and just having fun.
Mhm.
He's not our uncle yet. Well, he'll always be our uncle, but this is like when he was our cool uncle and shit. Back
Right.
when he's getting into some shit.
Right.
But the last thing that we don't share right now is bodies, bodies, bodies. Have you heard of this? It's got who's that dude that's fucking half of Hollywood right now? He just broke up with Kim Kardashian.
Oh, Pete
Pete
Davidson.
Davidson.
Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably the biggest name in this movie. And it's basically a Gen Z. It's been labeled as like a horror comedy, but it's not a horror movie. It's like a slasher thriller. And it's got some funny parts in it, and it's got like some really funny jokes about like being a podcaster. Like I saw the movie with a fellow podcaster, and like we was
Mhm.
like, I connect to everything that this character is saying. Yes, that is accurate.
And what is
uh
this on?
I went it's in the theater right now,
Oh, okay.
but it's pretty good. I recommend it. It's just like the person I saw it with didn't really like it, but like when you find out like who the killer is, I thought that was hilarious.
Can you give me a synopsis of it? Like, what's the?
Okay. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's like a long weekend. Like some friends are like going to a house, and like they're just gonna have a long weekend, drinks and have some fun. But like there's like little tensions in the various pockets of the friend group. Like this
Mhm.
one, the like the people that we're introduced to, it's a lesbian couple, and the one girl, she goes to hang out with her friends, but like she's clean now, but all her friends are like not saying they're addicts, but they like socially do drugs. And so like
Mhm.
this probably isn't really a scenario that she should have inserted herself in the beginning. And then like she brings her girlfriend along, but she didn't tell anybody she was bringing her. And so it's just like awkward. And so like to kind of like also somebody else brings like a Tinder date. And like these are all women like in their early 20s. And it's like a dude that he's like 45, trying to be so they ended up playing this game called Bodies, 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 which is like, oh, we're gonna pretend like there's like somebody's a slasher. Like everybody gets a piece of paper, and if your piece of paper has like an X on it, you're the killer. But
Mhm.
then like somebody they find an actual dead body, and then things just get kind of crazier from there.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so that's all the stuff I've seen independent of you.
So one thing I was able to watch is Spin Me Around. I know, Chad, you showed me the trailer. You
Mm-hmm.
know, one of our two favorite women's on there, Allison Brie, Aubrey Plaza.
One of
So
our,
quick
both of them.
I mean, I'm gonna say both of them, yes.
Yeah.
So quick synopsis. It's Allison Brie is a manager at a an Olive Garden type of place. Okay.
Okay.
So and she wins this thing for all managers to go to Italy, and stuff happens. Now, it's Allison Brie, Aubrey Plaza, all the cast. It's not their fault. They acted their ass off. They did perfectly. It's the plot of this
The
is,
script.
yeah, the script of it. It's it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like they were making it up on the fly. Like I don't want to, because I want you to watch it, even though like I'm shitting on it right now, but I still want you to watch it though.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, Debbie Ryan is in this? It says she
yes,
plays Susie.
yes.
Okay.
Uh, so like all the actors and actresses did their parts, but it's kind of like as you're like, okay, so I don't want to say this. So like, things happen, a girl goes missing, so you think it's going to go this way, right? And you're trying to figure out who is a bad person, who's a villain in this, but then it doesn't go that route. It goes like a totally different route, but like not in a good way, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like I'm leaving it vague because I do want you and everybody else to watch it, because maybe it's just me. But also Lil Rel's in it, so that helps out. But he's only have a small part in there. But I just I thought the plot would draw it down, not the actors and actresses.
Okay.
But would I say go see it? Yes, because I want to see if I'm wrong or not. Maybe it's just me.
All right. I promise you I will watch it this week and we'll talk about it next episode.
Right. And also let's go back to apparently our favorite platform, Apple TV Plus.
Now,
They have
I'm
a
very surprised that this is on the outline.
and why is that?
Well, say what it is first.
It's called Luck.
Mhm.
It's a animated cartoon, and it's
Mhm.
about a girl who down on the luck side,
Okay.
and things happen where uh she tries to get good luck, and she goes into this magical world where they create luck, and she's oh, let me back up. So the girl was in a orphanage, and she got what they call it, aged out,
Okay.
but she's friends with another girl in there, and then she was able to find a lucky four-leaf clover. No, not like a four-leaf clover, a lucky penny. There we go, a lucky penny. And she had amazing luck because she already has bad luck. But then she lost the penny. She was going to give it to her friend that's in the orphanage so that she can get adopted and she won't have to age out like she does. And then hijinks assure when she goes to the magic world to get more good luck. So why do you think it was a shock for me to watch that?
Well, okay. I'm not gonna say it's a shock that you watched it because you didn't know, but I'm personally boycotting this movie because you remember a few weeks or a few months ago when we talked about John Lasseter? He was the head of Pixar.
Vaguely.
He had a very uncomfortable work environment for the women where he like forced them to give him hugs and he'd be rubbing on them and shit while they
Oh
just
yeah, yeah,
trying to.
okay. I remember that.
So
Yeah.
Disney fired him, and then he
Mm,
was immediately picked up and he works for this studio. So he was
mm.
like fired for that misconduct and then immediately basically put him in the same position, like top tier
Position.
motherfucker at this other
So you just
company.
reassigned them to a different company. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just
No,
saw it
no,
on
no,
Apple
no. I
TV, and
know.
I was like,
Yeah,
I'm all good to boycott something.
yeah. So I'm like,
But yeah, you should go watch this.
oh
As
wait,
I say
I'm sorry. Did you
that,
like you liked it? You liked it?
it's a cool kid. Like if you were sitting there by yourself, no. But like if your daughter, your kids, or something like that, like my son enjoyed it. It's,
Is
it's
it a
okay.
is it a
Yeah, it
musical?
was. No.
Okay, then it's a lower chance that my daughter will
Wait, do
watch
they
it.
sing in this? Nah, there's no singing in that because I would have mentioned they were singing in it.
They making me listen to these goddamn songs, Chad.
Right.
All right, it was not.
Unless it's been like we don't talk about Bruno. I don't really care for that kind of stuff. Uh but also let's go to Netflix now. Dayshift with Jamie Foxx. Have you seen it?
I only saw the trailer, so it came out Friday, and Rachel and I were hitting that road, the road that weekend, so I didn't
Okay,
get a
yeah.
chance to watch it. I talked to a friend, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're about to invite you for another Netflix vampire movie," and she was like, do we have to?" Because you remember her first episode was that vampire movie.
Right, yeah. So it's stars Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, and a surprising Snoop Dogg's in it. They are, or I mean, to give you the plot. So Jamie Foxx character Bud is him and his wife is divorced, played by fine, fine. Forget the plot. You need to just watch it for how good
Megan Good.
Megan Good
Mm.
looks at this movie. So they got a divorce. They have a daughter and everything, and she's dating another guy, and she's thinking about moving or whatever right there because he's never there and the support, blah blah blah. So apparently they have a vampire hunting union type of thing where they get money after so many kills and stuff, but he's been not blackballed but kicked out the union type of thing. So he's like freelancing vampire stuff, whatever, right? To
Okay.
get money. So then in order for him to get them to
So
stay, he needs to get this whole
in this world, do you pay people to kill vampires? Like how does freelancing work?
not freelancing. He kind of just does it on his own. There we go.
What
He
money
does
is
it
he
on like
making?
because you get their teeth. Their
Okay.
teeth is what's valuable. So
Well,
you get their fangs, and
uh-huh.
you go to like normally the union will pay for that kind of stuff. Like, oh, you got X amount of teeth from like an old, a middle, a young one, and they pay X amount of dollars per the teeth, how good the teeth are. But like since he's on his own, he's doing the solo stuff, he has to take this the teeth to like a pawn shop type of person, and he's like paying underneath the table things.
What are they doing with the teeth?
I don't oh, I don't remember now what they're doing with the teeth.
Okay.
Saving them?
What?
I don't remember. I don't
So
remember what they're doing with it.
It's also, is this a world when you kill a vampire, do they like burst into flames or get dusted, or is it just like a corpse when you kill a vampire? When you stake a vampire?
Um, disappear.
Okay, so you
Really
got take
disappear?
the you
No,
got
you
take
could you could. No, it's a corpse. I take that back. It's a corpse because they cut their head. Because once they kill them, then he cuts their head off. Then he takes
okay,
the fangs.
okay.
So yeah. Plus, like part of Union. So like they have it's like a company. It's like a Monsters Inc. type of thing. Where that one scene where he gets the sock on him and it's like code, whatever, whatever, and they have different protocols. It's like that. So then Dave Franco's character, he's like the nerdy word I'm looking for. Not accountant type person, but like a book person for the organization. Things happen, so now he has to go on the road with Jamie Foxx character because this is one last chance to the union people are getting one last chance to do this.
Okay.
So comedy, action, kicking a lot of ass in there. And then of course the big surprise cameo is Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg kicking ass in this. He's doing kicks and stuff. He has this big ass machine gun. He's he carries his blue rag with him. He wear a cowboy hat. It's good.
Is he just like in one scene?
No, and that's another thing. He's in like 3, maybe 4 scenes, I think.
Okay, okay.
I mean, he's not majority in it like Jamie Foxx is, but he is sporadically in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I know who was it? Who told us about it before?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
On
Palm
that episode
Springs.
with Rachel, I was like, this is a really good like day repeating movie.
Yeah. Now you undersold how good this movie was.
So first off,
Oh wait, hold on. What? Or no, go ahead.
so you text me that you were watching it or you finished it, and I was like, I'm gonna say this for the show. So like 2 or 3 days ago, Rachel texted me. She's like, oh yeah, I finally finished Palm Springs. And I was like, okay, set it in the group chat to make Matt watch it.
Oh, yeah. So then I was like, all right, let me finally watch it, and you undersold it. So now let me give them the plot first before I dive into it. So basically, no, I don't want to do that. I take that back because that's going to ruin what I want to say. So basically, it's one of the Groundhog Day movies. But the reason why I think this is done so much better is because it wasn't okay. So it stars Andy Samberg and
Kristen
Kristen.
Miliani
Yes.
and also
So
J.K. Simmons.
yeah. So, but the thing is, when it starts off, Andy Samberg's character has already been in the Groundhog Day cycle. So he's already like normally when they do Groundhog Day thing, the character starts off with it and we go through it day by day. But one thing I really loved about this is about how he's already been doing this for days, months, years earlier. So he's already established. I really love that part about it.
Yeah.
And the comedy in this shit is fucking hilarious. I laughed. There was parts where I had to rewind it because I thought it was like, what did he say? I loved it. I like me and the wife watched this and we laughed at so many parts of this. Like where she meets him and okay, spoiler, she gets trapped into the Groundhog Day thing too.
Right.
So as they're talking or whatever, she's like asking him how did he do it? Like he's like, hey, because sorry, now let me get with the plot. So they're at a wedding. They're at his girlfriend is part of the bridesmaid crew of the wedding, and Kristen's sister is the one who's getting married. Yeah. So the Groundhog Day is on the day of the wedding. Okay, that's the setting of this. So like when she was talking about like it's a wedding, who'd you have sex with and stuff like that, and he was like, yeah, he had sex with this person, he had sex with this person, and then she was like, did you try to have sex with the bride? And he's like, I tried. And he comes up to him as they're dancing, the husband and wife is dancing, and she's like, he's like, can I cut in? And the husband's like, this is the first dance. So yes, I highly recommend this. I look like this is a movie where I could turn it on right now and I will laugh again at it. Like I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
And then like, so I did my investigations on it. I'm disappointed at why didn't it make the money did. It was a $5 million budget, but only made 1.5. This movie is hilarious.
It didn't get a theatrical run.
Oh,
It
well,
came
maybe
out
that's
during
why.
the, so it, it was an independent movie, and Hulu bought it to put on the app. As we talked earlier, this shit doesn't make money, but
Mm-hmm.
the 1 point whatever the fuck is because that's how much Hulu gave them. But also, it came out like in 2020 during the pandemic.
Right.
I don't
Well,
I
yeah.
don't know how. I'm really curious. Would it have found an audience if they released it in the theater?
I
Like,
I don't think so. I
yeah,
don't To me, this is like a
this is something you watch
direct
at home.
right. This is like a direct to DVD type of thing where it becomes a cult classic type of thing or something like that. Or like, but this movie is fucking hilarious. Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you got Hulu and you got to do it, I'm telling you, honestly, really, pause this, go watch it. That's how good it is.
yeah,
I
it's really good.
honestly, I might once we get done with this, I might watch it myself. That's how good it is. I highly recommend that.
And have you seen Happy Death Day? I can't remember what the question was that I wrote on that episode, but I feel like
No, I haven't seen it.
was that one of the questions? It was like, I don't fucking know.
The About the ones that are do recycle days.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one of them. So I went through after this. I went through all the ones that do the
yeah, yeah.
groundhog thing, and that was on there.
It's the first one's really good. I don't really care for the second one.
Okay. So another one I watched was Prey. I'll let you start off.
All right, so yeah, I saw it too. So basically, this is the fifth Predator movie, and this is set during the 1800s. And it follows a Native American young woman, and there's a predator out there, like the alien predator, and she has to like have a face off with it. Um, it's on Hulu, and there's two versions. There's one in English where they're speaking English, and then there's one where there's a dub of them speaking Comanche, the Native American language that would be accurate to that time period. And I've
Oh, I
seen
didn't know that. I
I've
would have
seen
watched that version.
I've seen both versions. I've seen this movie twice. It is really good. I will say predators are bitches. I will say that
And why
because
you
it's
say
like
that?
I get you being invisible when you stalking and you're trying to like study your prey, but like you killing shit invisible. Like when he killed that bear, he was invisible. You're not really giving your prey an attempt to fight. I thought
See,
the predators were honorable.
well, I've never seen any Predator movie, right? So this
I
is my first time.
watched the third Predator movie.
So when I was explaining to people at work, right, I was like, that's the same thing I said. I was like, the Predator on some whole shit. I was like, you already better than them and all this other stuff, and you doing this sneaky shit. I was like, I get it. You ain't trying to like lose or whatever. You ain't. I didn't expect you to make it a fair fight. Well, come on, man. You got all this stuff. They out here with bows and arrows and axes and stuff like that. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you was some whole shit there.
Yeah, I can't. I've seen all of them except like the fourth one, but I can't remember in the first one if the Predator was on that shit too. But
Mm-hmm.
I recommend the third one because they kidnap some humans and they dump them and bring them to the Predator world.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
Okay.
good, and the cast is like super fucking surprising. Where you're like, oh, you're famous now, but you weren't
You
then.
weren't there. Also, I want to give a shout out to
Mm,
Amber Mid Thunder.
yes.
She was acting her ass off in this.
Yes, the fuck she was. Like, look out for her. Look out for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I never knew of her. She's definitely on my radar now. So I'll be looking for whatever stuff she's into in the future.
Yes. All right. So the very last thing we both saw, and we're not doing a this week's review, we're just running it down. So this movie actually technically doesn't exist, or it exists, but just like earlier when we were talking about Warner Brothers like canceling stuff, like if basically we watched Popeye. We watched the unreleased Popeye movie that Genty Tinakarski, is that how you say his name? The guy that made Samurai Jack.
Right. I saw it and I didn't. I'm glad you tried to pronounce it because I know I couldn't.
He's a Russian gentleman. But this movie, like a couple of years ago, they released like a an animated like clip, which actually wasn't in this version, which I found interesting. Of the movie, and then like a few months later, they canceled it. Sony canceled it, and so somebody leaked it, and we watched it. It's not and it's animated. It's not colored. It's but it's animated, and it has voiceover work, and it's got the guy that does SpongeBob. He plays Popeye. It's I liked it. I liked it. I liked it for what it was. Like I went in accepting that if this movie actually came out, it it would have not been this exactly. Like there's
Yes.
parts where they kind of start singing, but they kind of don't because you could tell like they weren't sure if this was going to be a musical.
Yes.
And I don't know. There's some story beats where I'm like, I don't know if they actually would have went through with that, like when Popeye was cross dressing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it was solid for what it was.
I agree. I've always loved Popeye as a character. And yeah, I took it for what it's worth. I know things are missing. Some stuff was gonna be cut, some stuff was gonna be added. Uh, but one thing that really intrigued me the most was his ship
Oh yeah.
with the
He made
legs.
a ship.
Right. And also, like, one thing I did like about it, I like them skipping ahead with the fish and the seagull talking about it, where he's like, "Oh, he built this ship. It took so long. He's an adult now," and then like they just skip forward. So I like little stuff like that. I know maybe that would have changed for the movie, but I
Yeah.
like little stuff for this. I liked how the ship had legs; it could do different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like overall, like I would have, yeah, definitely if this would have been made, I definitely would have checked for. I definitely would have went to go see this one.
Yeah. I was my only disappointment is that Popeye is known as a sailor, like
Mm-hmm.
not well. He was a sailor in the movie because he had a boat. He sailed the seas like a navy man,
Right,
and so like
a
I was like,
seaman.
and so I was like, huh, they're not gonna incorporate that element. But it was not like this was the final version of the movie.
Right.
Yeah. But
And the only thing is that I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
say was that when he was eating the spit, like when the spinach thing, like throughout the time where like he was like getting his ass whooped and stuff, I was like, where's the spinach at? And then like at one point he got the spinach, and then I'm like, okay. And then it looked like the movie was over, but then the hat came back, and then I was like, so that was gonna be like a one-time thing of him getting the spinach, and then he came back and got the spinach. And one thing I didn't like, but I know this is not the final one. I don't like how they did not use the theme music, when he eats the spinach on the
Oh,
cartoon.
yeah.
Right, where it does that, and they didn't have that in there. I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, I found like so there's an element where Popeye has to fight a sea witch. And I was like, that fight felt super underwhelming, but then she came back and I was like, I feel like in the final version they still would have like pumped that up a little bit more to
Right,
make you feel like, all right, this is the end of the movie.
right, because it did seem kind of anticlimactic to
Yes.
where. And also, one thing is her minions on here. It kind of looks like a robot mixed with something. What do you think they are?
I thought they were like birds or something. Oh, that. Yeah, they
That
did look very robotic. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like it just had like a big body, and I'm like, I don't. I know that's probably just like a placeholder for what it was
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm like, as a sea hag to have something like that, that didn't really go together. So I was trying to think, what would her minions actually be?
Hmm. So if this movie actually would have came out, who do you think the celebrity voices would have been? Like, let's just go one by one. Who do you cast as Popeye?
This I spit too
Then
much time thinking.
don't say Chris Evans. Don't say Chris Pratt.
No. Like I spent too much time thinking about this, and I went down. Like I've looked things up, like voice actors. This who's done it before? Like I look Google who does a good Popeye accent. Like I went down this whole road to do this. Now, of course, let's go with the two obvious one is Dave Coulier from Full House. He
Oh,
does a great Popeye voice. But
he
then, of course,
does. If this came out in the '90s, sure.
and then of course I thought about Sonic to where They could have used
Oh.
Jalil White to do Sonic, but they're doing a newer version, so that's why they picked the person. So then I thought about Jim Carrey. I've thought about Steve Carell.
Hmm.
And then when I was looking up Popeye stuff, then I thought about John Krasinski. Because one episode of Office, he wore Popeye and he did an okay voice.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So what I went with was who's young and hot right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so Zach and Cody from
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Life, whichever one is on Riverdale, him. Because it's
And white
like
hair.
they don't really give a shit about like if you're gonna do the Popeye accent or not. They just want a voice in on the chair in the chair. They want a name on a poster.
Right. Okay. Right. I was trying to think of somebody who could do the voice, but no, you're right because they're just looking for somebody. Oh, he's a star now. He's doing the
Mm-hmm.
voice type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, who's your olive oil?
Allison Brie.
Now, my thing with that one is like, can she sing? That was me. That's how I approached it. But
Okay.
why did you pick Allison Brie? Because and
Because
besides us being in love with her.
because I watched Spin Me Around right before I watched this. So then I was like, who does that voice? Who could do this voice? Who could do Olive? And I was like, oh, Allison Brie. So like that's the only reason because that's what was on top of my mind. Because I thought about other people, but like she just kept staying on top of my mind that she could do it. So I was thinking of like Allison Brie on the sweet, innocent community type of thing character
Oh,
where
Annie.
she could do it. Yeah.
Okay. So initially I was thinking of Haley Stanfield because she can sing and all that stuff. But then I was like really thinking about it and I was like, I changed that. Selena Gomez. Because like I don't think we talked about this on mic, but Selena Gomez's voice is different now versus when she was on that Disney show. And it's because I think she has lupus or something like that. Like a serious medical condition which changed her
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah. You told me when I was asking you about murders in the building,
Hmm.
and I was like, she had her voice is kind of raspy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that is why I pick her as olive oil.
Okay.
And then, I Batista as Bluto. That's what I threw out there.
You know what? I picked
Oh.
Carl Urban. You know who that is?
Oh yeah, that's a good pick.
Butcher from
Yes.
the Boys.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
And the last person I wrote down, I don't have a character for him, but of course, put Ron Funches in this movie.
All the animal characters, just throw them in
Right.
there.
I thought about it like because the fish that kept like for each chapter or whatever, or the
Hmm.
seagull, I was like, put Ron Funches in this. I need more of him.
Now I would have liked like for the dad, that's where you could throw in the Dave Coulier.
Oh yeah, you're right to have the original. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm not saying like you should cast him too, but like I was thinking like when you mentioned him, I was like, oh yeah, he Popeye's dad was in this movie.
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, also like so this leak came out like 3 or 4 years after they canceled the Sony version. I was just thinking like maybe one day we'll see Batgirl.
I'll believe that because I think with time and also it's what's the word I'm gonna go for? Fanfare or
Hmm.
whatever. When they
I
say like
mean,
people still want it.
legally, Warner Brothers cannot release Batgirl because they wrote it off as a loss. In the way in which they wrote it off, so it has to come out as a leak. This can't be like a Snyder cut situation.
Okay. Well then, leak it to the people, man. You Warner Brothers, you got your write off. Leak it to the people. People who care to watch it, they'll get their wish, and everybody moves on.
Yeah.
But with something like this, though, with a leak, uh, what are the not ramifications? That's not right. Could somebody see this and be like, if they hear chatter about, people want this, and be like, oh, okay, I'm about to do a Popeye thing.
Well, that's the
and do not
thing.
and do something not blatant ripoff of the storyline, but something very similar.
Similar to Popeye or similar to what we saw?
Similar to Popeye and what we saw. Well, I mean, not like the whole thing of a sea hag and him building the boat, but something where like, oh, okay, well, instead of me doing a Popeye when he's full grown, let me do a Popeye when he's a baby or something like that.
So, rights holdings, right? So like currently Sony owns the rights to Sony owns the rights to Popeye. So Sony is the only company that can legally release a Popeye movie. So you can have like Matt the Sailor Man come out, but who's gonna watch that?
I don't even know if I will watch this because that story wouldn't be a PG story.
That it
Uh,
definitely would not.
nah. Uh, yeah, you're right. But nah, they should do some Popeye. The little clip they showed of him, or the
The animated clip, like the fully
yeah,
colored clip.
right, yeah, I like that. So, and I'm always a fan of Popeye. So,
I was really
Sony,
surprised it wasn't in this.
right. So Sony, do your thing, and if I got to do another one, do another one then.
I don't know. Like, I really am curious about what the general like. I saw two YouTube reviews of it, and obviously you can't show any clips from it, or your video will be removed. Just like Sony is doing their very best to scrub this from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I wonder what the general feedback is on the movie, to where they could be like, okay, let's restart the Popeye train, and in 3 years when we're done with this movie, hopefully that buzz is still there. Because like that's the thing too. Like it's an animated movie, so it's gonna take a while for it to be done.
Right, right.
So like, are
So I
people still
mean,
gonna be feeling it?
so how much time was not wasted? That's not the right word. How much time was it from the time that they released the first Sonic, quote unquote, ugly Sonic, to where they got the fanfare and then they changed it and they got the new one?
It
Do you
was,
remember how long that was?
it was a maybe 4 or 5 months, but you gotta remember,
Uh,
like that's a
right. That wasn't that
hybrid
long.
of live action though.
Make sure. Right,
So
right,
all
right,
they had to animate was Sonic and like CGI versus, but they still had all the human stuff,
right, right.
which
Do
doesn't
you
take
think?
as long to do.
Right. Do you think they could do a? Would you be here for a live action Popeye?
What part is animated? Well, oh, live action, live action. So are you aware of the Robin Williams one?
Of course, of course.
Okay. I don't know if I don't know. Like, there's certain things I don't want to see in live action. I'm not saying Popeye specifically, but like just like him doing all these ridiculous things high on spinach. Like, I don't know if that's gonna look
High on
right.
spinach.
I don't know if that's gonna look right in live action.
No, you right, because and also like his arms or whatever to
Yeah.
get it correct, it's gonna be looking weird. Yeah. So maybe it's better to stick to CGI and animation.
Right. Um, but yeah, so like we said, this is a bit of a different one. We went a really long time. We don't have the energy for this every week, which is why we have to bring guests in. But we haven't really talked in a couple weeks. So
Yes.
yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusetotalkpod@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page, We Used to Talk About This at Work, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Used to Talk Pod. Come back next week when we review Vengeance.
And like always, I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if it was a bad episode, but whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.